Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I pray everybody is having a great day. Hopefully you can hear me pretty okay. I have my earbuds in. I know it's the middle of the day and I just had some time today because I'm at home today with my son who is faking sick. He has a temp, a low grade temp, so it's best to keep him home. And it's actually good to have a break. I'm not mad at all. Thought I was gonna go to work this morning, but decided to stay home with him yesterday and today. So I want to chat with you guys about something really quick. You know that my thing is worship and worship leading and worship teams. So that's what this is kind of centered around. But I think this works, and I'm going to try to use language that works for, hey, Melissa, that works for any team. Okay, so that's why I titled it Team Talk. This is something that I prepared for my own team. And so I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was good, and you can share this with your teams. You can take notes, and I'm gonna hopefully be really quick. If you hear my son, it's because, like I said, he's here. So I'm just sitting on my couch, and I just want to share something with you guys. Again, happy, what's today? Wednesday, and hoping you're having a great day. Hoping you're feeling good. I don't know where you all are, but I am in Kentwood, Michigan. It actually doesn't look too bad outside. The sun was out a little bit ago. And the snow is melting. Praise the Lord. So, yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about teams. And so this is for worship leaders and worship teams, but don't tune out because it can be for any team. I think these are transferable little tips of wisdom that will help any team. Nikki. I feel good. I really do. I really do. So, but double fudge with caramel on top, baby. Don't forget that caramel. But no, listen. So I'm going to be quick. I don't want to be really long. I know my videos can be a little long sometimes, but I want you to be able to share this and revert back to this. So check it out. So for teams and these leaders, this is for you. Worship teams, this is for you. But any team, this is transferable to anybody that's in any team, any organization, any entity where you have to work together to do something. All right. So I just want to share this with you really quickly and bid you adieu for the rest of your day. So check it out. If you're a part of a team, and right now thank you, honey. I love you. I'm proud of you too. For the worship team, these are team members. Hey, what's up, Jalen? Share this. This is for team members, okay? Specifically for team members. And this is the top of the year. You're probably having some training. You're probably still strategically planning for your team for your year. And if not, you're thinking about what can I do? What can we do to build? And so here's some things that the team needs, the team member needs. The leader, we always kind of focus on the leader. I always focus on the leader, but the team is culpable too. Like, you have some responsibility, all right? So here's the first one, and there are 5 things, all right? So if you want to jot it down or if you want to save this, please do and share it. You can even show this to your team if you'd like. Accountability. It's the first one. Accountability. And these are things that you know about. You've heard these words. You know the definition. This is not something, you know what I mean, that you got to be a theologian to research. But definitely some things that I've learned, some things I've been praying about and thinking about. And so I think these are the 5 things that are really important for the team that I lead and for where we are right now. So the first one, accountability. Accountability. We know what that means. But worship team members, band, sound, all of that, you are accountable to your leader. I know this is the day and age where people are like, who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me? This is the day and age where nobody wants to be accountable or be what we think is subordinate or submit to someone else. But you're accountable to your leader. You're accountable to the person who has the responsibility of leading the team that you're on. So you have to be accountable to them. You're not going to be there. You need to let them know. You are, it's a piece of hair like just sticking out. Where is it? Yeah, you're not going to be there. Let them know. If you have issues, you need to speak with them. Don't just leave your leader who's counting on you high and dry. All right. And I'm going to kind of blow through these really quickly because I don't want to hold you long, and I want you to be able to rewatch this video. And here comes my son. I'm going to have to tell him to be quiet. Stay downstairs, please. I'll be there in a minute. All right. You're accountable to your leader. You're accountable to your teammates. Again, I'm talking to worship teams, worship leaders, but make this fit whatever organization, whatever entity, whatever team you're part of. All right. So you are accountable to your leader, and you're accountable to your teammates. You're accountable to your section that you sing in, the altos, the tenors, the sopranos. You are accountable to them. They're counting on you. They're counting on you to be where you say you're going to be on time. They're counting on you to pull your weight. They're counting on you to do your part. They're counting on you to be prepared, because if everybody else is prepared and you're not prepared, then that's what holding the team back is, holding the section back. All right. So you're accountable to your leader. You're accountable to your teammates. You're accountable to your word. I don't think that we like to think about this, but you're accountable to, you are tethered to what you said you would do. You said this was your skill. You said this was your gift. You said that God called you to do this. So you're accountable to the decision that you made. That doesn't mean you can't change your mind, but if this is still your decision to be part of this particular team, and I'm again talking to worship teams, but transfer this to any other team that you may be part of, you're accountable to your leader, you're accountable to your teammates, and you're accountable to your own word. You should feel tethered to what comes out of your mouth. So if you say you're gonna do it, do it. What's up, Rick? How you doing, man? Rick Fair, y'all, if you don't know him, you need to follow him, you need to get his music. Amazing worship leader and pastor. Just great guy, great friend, depth of knowledge, and just amazingly anointed. So Mimi's on here, Jalen's on here. But listen, be accountable to your own word. Be accountable to what you said you would do. Do what you say you're going to do. And then you are, of course, accountable to higher level leadership, just like you would be at your job. You're immediately accountable to your supervisor, and you are accountable to your higher level manager. So you may not directly report to them, but you're still accountable to them because you're part of the team, and the team goals are your personal goals. Like, you're part of that team. So just like in a worship team, same thing in a worship team. And again, these nuggets of wisdom are transferable to whatever organization you're part of. You're accountable to your leader. You're accountable to your teammates. You're accountable to your word, and you're accountable to higher level leadership, and you're accountable to God. I mean, come on, you're accountable to the one that called you, the one that gifted you, the one that gave you the skill, and the one that has giving you the responsibility to be part of whatever you're part of in your church. If it's not the worship team, if it's the dance team, if it's the usher board, if it's the hospitality or greeters, whatever it is, you are accountable. So be accountable, and don't, it's not about being subordinate, but it is about submission. My friend talked about this some time ago. He talked about submit. That means to be under the mission. Be under the mission. That means that whatever the mission is, I will do what I've said and that I'm called to do, gifted to do, to help the mission go forward. All right. So the first word, accountability. All right. The second one is engagement or availability. Be present. If you're going to say that I'm accountable to my team, my leaders, God, my word, then be present. Be available, be present, do the activities, do what it takes to build your team and to be a part of your team and to help your team go forward. Teams don't happen. You don't become a part of a team or make a great team on an island or in a vacuum, as it were. You have to engage. Something that I've learned kind of about accountability and availability in this weight loss journey is that I cannot do it by myself. For many years, there's a certain plateau that I can reach alone. I've lost up to 45 pounds on my own. Also gained it back on my own. But what I've learned is that I need to be present. I need to do activities. I need to get with other people. That helps me, that encourages me. One of my love languages is words of affirmation. So that's going to help me keep going. That's going to keep me motivated. So be present, get in the group. Be part of it, be genuinely concerned and show genuine love for the people on your team. Get to know them, understand them. If on our team at KLM, we have different dynamics. We have younger and older. We have people who are on their second marriage. We have people who have older children, adult children. We have people who, like me, have a 5-year-old, and then a team member who has a 3-year-old, and there are people who have no children at all. But you need to be genuinely involved and engaged with other people's lives. So you need to engage. If there's a text message or a group message or email, or you have whatever kind of way that you communicate, and we'll get to that in a minute, engage in that. Don't just never reply. Show that you're interested. Show that you are, your mind, your head is in the game, and your heart is in the game, and you're interested in what is going on, and you want to be there to make it better. You want to make sure that all things are going well. Don't just kind of fall in and fall out when you feel like it. And if you're going to do that, then you need to disengage completely. Because if you're saying that you're committed and you're disengaged in the process, like you're kind of just wishy-washy, and I don't know if you're gonna show up, I don't know if you're gonna be here or not, I don't know if you even want to be here. When you are here, you're looking a little sour, then it's better for you to disengage completely than to hold the whole train back by being slothful and showing that you're unconcerned. Does that make sense? So accountability and engagement, or availability. Why can't I say that word today? Availability. All right, I got it out. So be accountable and be available and be engaged. All right. The third thing that I want to give you, and this is specifically for worship teams, but this is for any team. It's transferable. All right. Stamina. What do I mean by stamina? Be committed and stay through the struggles, through disappointments, through transition, through change, through different leadership, through new people coming on the team, old people leaving the team. Be committed enough to persevere through those times, through those challenges, and through offense. Be committed enough to persevere through offense. Be committed enough to love the team that you're on, and be so committed to them and be so engaged that you don't let offense break you apart. The Bible says that we are bound together by peace. And so no matter what happens, no matter what goes on, we have peace that is binding us together. And so there's nothing that can separate us. There's nothing that can be said. That doesn't mean you're not going to have that doesn't mean that you're not going to have I don't want to say arguments, disagreements, challenging times. It doesn't mean you're going to always agree and see eye to eye, but you have to have in your mind that at the end of this conversation, I'm still going to hug you and love you, and we're still going to go wherever out to eat, and we're still going to be part of this team, and I still have your best interest at heart, and I still have the best interest of this team at heart. So you have to have stamina. Not only that, but because we're talking about a worship team specifically, you have to have some exuberance. You have to have some excitement. You got to have some life about you. You just can't be kind of like dead weight, not just in the team, the entity of the team, the organization of the team, but you have to be engaged and exuberant in what we do, which is lead people in worship. So yeah, you got to have some stamina. You got to say, I'm here for the long haul. I'm willing to go the distance. I'm willing to be with these people no matter what happens. I'm willing to be the only one that's praying if necessary. I'm willing to uphold and encourage the leader. I'm willing to uphold and encourage my teammates, my bandmates, whatever. All right. So accountability, engagement, and availability, and stamina. All right. When you need to persevere through whatever is going on. Here's another one that came to me after I thought I was done, and it should have been like number one, is communication. Not just effective. First, let's just talk about the fact that you have to have communication. You have to have communication. You have to be engaged in whatever the mode of communication is. You can't say, well, I don't like Facebook. If you guys have a Facebook group and that's the way that the majority of the people have decided to communicate, then you need to engage in that particular mode of communication. All right. So you need to engage in whatever mode of communication there is. And then someone said this to me the other day, and I'm going to hold on to it. No matter what the communication is, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, always assume the best intent. Always assume the best intent. And always seek to bridge gaps. Like, don't be the offender and don't be so easily offended. Listen to understand, and don't live offended. If somebody we offend people all the time. You might make a mistake. You look at somebody the wrong way, or maybe you look past somebody. I didn't even see you, sis. I didn't see you, bro. Standing there, and okay, automatically they think, oh, Linda don't speak to me, and she looked right at me. I didn't even see you. Can I throw this in parenthetically? For those of you who are not worship leaders or on a worship team, for those of you who are not, that will see this and that's watching this right now, please hear me. Please hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me. Like, if your hair is on your ears, like, move your hair so you can hear me. On Sunday mornings, special events, Wednesday nights, whenever you're about, today is Wednesday, is National Bible Study Night for most churches. When your worship team is coming in, but especially your worship leader, I'm speaking for myself too, and I know that I see Ashley. I don't know if she's still on here. I know for a fact, when you are a worship leader, a lot of times, you have to hold in your mind what God is giving you for that moment, for that morning. Whether he gave it to you 2 weeks ago, or whether you're in prayer that morning or Saturday night and there's something specific he wants you to release. I think that people think you just up there leading songs, and so you just lead a song, right? And so you know the words to the song, you just lead a song. That's easy. It is not an easy task. You wake up in the morning, and it's just like a regular morning, just like you got to go to work. But, you can kind of mindlessly go to work. You know what you got to do, and you've learned it, and so you do it, right? When you're leading worship, it's so fluid and it's so delicate that you really have to stay in tune. Not only are you thinking about words, not only are you saying, I hope the sound team works well today, and you're saying, I pray the lyrics are on screen, and you're hoping that all of your team shows up this morning, and you're hoping that all your band shows up this morning, but you're staying in tune with the Spirit and what he said to release for the day. So when you walk in the door, when your worship leader walks in the door, and where your worship team walks in the door, and probably your minister, your musician as well, when they walk in the door, small talk is not the best thing at that time. They may say good morning and keep it moving. They may not even sometimes say good morning. You always also have to realize that your worship leader may be married, may have children, had to make breakfast, had to get up, had to get to service on time and early. And there is a linear mode of vision and thinking and in heart status that you try your best to stay in, because you really want to continue to hear from God. You really want to hear what he's saying, and you don't want to lose it. I want to give, like last Sunday, I think it was last Sunday or two Sundays ago, like I had specifically heard something from God that morning. I've been praying, yes, already, but specifically heard something from God that morning, and something that he was singing to me. And I'm like, I gotta keep it. So I recorded it on my phone, but I'm not gonna have time to go listen to my phone when I'm in worship. I want to keep what he said. I'm trying to keep that alive in my heart, not only just so that I can remember it, because I want to remember to release it the way that he gave it to me, but I want the spirit in which he gave it to me, and I want the timing in which he gave it to me. So you have to understand, and I think it's a thing, it's really a thing in churches. You have to understand, if your worship leader doesn't speak or doesn't stop to talk, or my church is a hugging church. I can't hug 5 people on the way to the back because it's a little bit distracting for me. And so you have to be able to understand your leader, your worship leader. Okay, so I didn't mean that is like extra. Okay, so again, all of these are transferable, probably except that little piece. But so that was parenthetically. Okay, end parentheses right here. So communication, always assume the best intent. So give us grace in that. So if you ever see your worship leader and you think that they're not communicating with you, or you think that they didn't speak to you this morning, and she just walked in and he just ran in and blah 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 blah. At one point, Kenny and I started coming in the back door because it was easiest for us so that we can release what God has given us. So can you give us grace in that? Give us grace in that. Give your worship leader grace in that. Your worship team even grace in that. Don't stop them. If you know they're part of the worship team, don't stop them for small talk and ask them this and ask them that. Things that you can speak to them about after church. I promise you, after church, they will be so willing to speak with you. But before church is a little bit difficult because we're trying to keep a certain mindset so that all of us can be fed, so that you can be fed. And hear what God is releasing through your worship team and your worship leader. Okay. All right. Deal. All right. So communication, always assume the best intent, seek to bridge gaps, be bound together by peace. Don't let anything break the peace in your team. Don't let anybody talk about your church or your team negatively. You know, I mean, people can have opinions and you can have a discussion, but like just maliciously is what I mean. Because we always think that a negative thing is malicious. But just because I say something negative, meaning it's not, I'm not giving you positive feedback. I'm giving you negative feedback about something or someone. That doesn't mean I'm being malicious. It just may mean I'm telling the truth or giving you my opinion on what I see. All right. So don't be offensive in your tone and in your speech. If you got a text and then type a text and then think and read it and let your husband read it and let somebody else read it, or send it to a mentor or a friend that you trust and say, does this sound right? Don't be offensive. Seek all ways to keep the bond of peace between you, and don't live offended. Don't always expect, even if somebody offended you before, you have to be able to release that so that when you speak with them again, you're not offended again by something that they didn't say or that they didn't mean, at least. All right. So, and here's another thing about communication, and that this is a generation that really doesn't love it. And by generation, I mean a time and space and era. I don't mean a particular group of people. I'm just talking about everybody in general. But in this era, because phones have made it so easy to just text each other, and people will be like, I read these posts like, don't call me. If it's textable, don't call me. Like, dang, don't you want a relationship with these people? Aren't these people your friends or family or whatever? But I can have it bad where I don't call people back all the time. But if at all possible, have conversation eye to eye, face to face. If that's not possible, then voice to voice. Then if that's not possible, then text. Don't let texting be your first mode of communication. All right. So eye to eye, face to face, or at the very least, give someone the respect of speaking voice to voice, especially when there's been a breach in the relationship. Especially when you need to hug that thing out. Just happened a couple of months ago. You need to hug that thing out, and you need to tell them face to face, I love you. Face to face, I'm sorry. Face to face, will you forgive me? Face to face, hey, that hurt me, and I maybe took you the wrong way, but I want us to chat this out. I want us to talk this out. Okay. So, he got the eyes because he at work and I'm sitting on the couch at home, but anyway, I'm still working. So accountability, engagement, stamina, communication, keep the bond of peace. And here's the other thing, live full. Live full. No matter who you're engaged with, meaning no matter who you have relationship with, whether it's a team, whether it's your spouse or your children, you have to give to them from a place of overflow. And so here's something that I think, right? I think that when we hear live full and lead out of overflow and surplus, that people have made it sound like that this tank that we're pouring from is full all the time. So I think I prefer to say live filled, and that gives a connotation that you have to continuously fill. Okay, live filled, which means you're going to get empty sometimes. You're going to get burned out. You're going to get tired. That's on any team. That's in any organization. That is in your family. That's with your children. That's with your spouse. That's with your relationship, your girlfriend, boyfriend. You're going to get tired. You're not going to have, especially if you're an introvert. I really am an introvert. I don't know if y'all know that. I really rather be alone. I do things on my own. That's why I said earlier, when on the weight loss journey, I prefer to do it alone. I prefer to go to the gym on my own by myself. I don't want anybody with me. Like I enjoy and absolutely need time to myself when I have an extrovert calling. So I have to be an extrovert, but when I leave those places, downtime is absolutely essential for me to be by myself. And I don't even just mean go be with my family. I'm talking about everybody. Hush, like everybody. And my husband is on here and he can tell you that. So live full, yes, but let's change that. That connotation sounds like I'm always full. I'm just always full of glory and always full of wisdom and always full of anointing and always full of the Holy Ghost and fire and rain. No, I have to live filled, which means when I pour out, I have to go and get filled again. So I got to pray again. I got to worship again. I got to read again. I got to have recreation again. I got to get rest again. It's the same way as what we eat and drink. You don't live full, but you have your days when you've been filled, but you have to replenish each and every day. So as you replenish, then you'll have something from which to pour out. So live full and lead out of that overflow, lead out of that surplus. Again, I'm talking to the team, not just the worship leader. The worship leader is not the only one leading. They're watching you, the team, the alto, the tenor, the soprano, you all the way on the end, you dead in the center, you that never leads and don't want to lead, you, whoever you are, the drummer, you're leading. Everybody plays a part. Nobody can do this on their own. When you listen to a CD, you hear drums and horns and strings and altos and voices, and you hear how do you know how many people it takes to pull that off? Just one. If you sang do you know how many people it takes so you could hear that it takes the sound person, it takes the keyboardist, all of the instruments, it takes the people behind me helping me to sing that, the lighting, all of it. It doesn't just take one person for you to experience what we experience Sunday morning, Wednesday nights, Tuesdays, whenever you meet. And again, this is transferable. So whatever you do on your team, whether this is at work, whether this is you have a business, whatever it is, it takes teamwork. Always makes the dream work. It's a group effort, and there's probably not one thing a person can do on this earth without anybody's help. So live full, live filled, and lead out of overflow and surplus. But you have to continuously get filled and pour out, get filled and pour out, get filled and pour out. This is what I'm doing basically because God has called me to worship leaders. And so I've committed that if there's 5, there's 1, if it's just me and Jalen, I'm going to give what God has given me because that's my call. That's what God has commissioned me to do, is to give what I feel like the wisdom that I feel like I've learned over the last 16 years of leading worship and just life and watching and paying attention, and I'm always learning. I was just on the webinar the other night. Brandon Roberson and LaRue Howard was there, and so I'm always learning, so I'm always giving. I'm always learning, and so I'm always giving. And so you need to do the same. You need to replenish and then lead out of that surplus and overflow. Give from a filled tank. That means you got to be intentional about staying full. And then when you're empty and burned out, then you need to do what you need to do to replenish yourself. And sometimes it's getting before God and praying. And sometimes you need to go to sleep. Sometimes you're just hungry. Sometimes you just need a vacation. Sometimes you just need to go and be with your significant other and have some downtime. Sometimes you need to go cry. Sometimes you need to go talk to your mentor. Sometimes you need to have chats like this with your team, and that will replenish you. It will clear the slate, make the slate clean, and we can start over from scratch, and we can do what we need to do. We can move forward because we've come to an understanding. We've come to a place where we're like, okay, the old is gone. We're going forward now. We're going to the new. Here's the last thing. So you need to be accountable. These are for team members. I'm not talking to necessarily leaders today, but this is something that leaders can give to their teams. But teams, Your leader will exhaust themselves, him or herself. If they're doing all of this, they're trying to get materials, they're shooting you videos, they're shooting you questions. Hey team, I want you to think about this. Hey team, I want you to do this. Hey team, let's go to Deeper Still this year. Hey team, let's go to the Bahamas this year. I don't know what your church budget is, your team budget is. Hey team, let's do this. Hey team, let's chat about this. If you're not engaged, if you're not available, you don't persevere, you don't want to communicate. That's tiring for your leader who is trying his or her best to give you, and not to just give you, but to bring you up to the place that God has called you to, or bring you up to the place your organization expects from you, whatever that standard is. And the standard is always excellence. I know that it is at my church, and it is yours too. Your leader, in their feeble attempts, they may be horrible at it. Maybe they're new. Maybe they just started. Maybe they don't really know which way to go. You got to have some grace. You have to have some grace for them. Don't just balk at everything they say, everything that they do, because you don't agree and because you don't understand. Because guess what? You are not in that leadership role, and you will never know what it takes. You will never know what they have to hear from the pastor, what they hear from God, and you will never know the pressure that they put on themselves to present what God has asked them to present and what the pastors have asked them to present, and to keep the standard of excellence. Kenny left a standard of excellence. I'm following that. But I'm also going to go beyond that, because that's what I'm called to do. That's what I've been doing all this time in my career of leading worship. And so be gracious, be understanding, be patient, be long suffering with each other, but especially with your leader, as him or her is seeking to lead you and give you what God. And so here's the thing: a leader leads from the front and behind. I pull, I run back, and I push. I pull and I run back and I push. I pull because I have to see ahead, but I also have to go to the one who is the newcomer. I also have to lead. So I got to lead from the people that's been leading worship for 20 years, and I got to lead the person that just realize that they have a singing gift and that they want to be on a worship team, or the person who says, I just want to be on a worship team because I just love to sing. Like, I got to decide, I gotta realize and understand how to lead both of them. So I'm pulling because I see where God is calling us, at least, and I may not see 7 miles ahead, but at least I see 40 feet ahead, and I got to pull you, and then I got to push you. I got to pull you, and I got to push you. So you have to encourage your leader. You have to be patient with your leader. You have to be loving, and sometimes you have to be tender. Like, let me say this too, for worship team members: it's not your job to be harsh to your leader. It's not your job to try to check them. It's not your job. It's your job to, when we have a team meeting, to voice your concerns and your opinions. It's your job to be part of the team and to give all that you have to the team. But it's not your job to check them. It's not your job to change them. It's not your job to challenge them. That's their upper level management job, which would be my pastor. You're the leader. I'm talking to you, the leader now. You're a pastor. That's their job. Your job is not to, we together. We doing this together. But at the same time, you have to understand that the responsibility that your leader is bearing. All right. Here's one last nugget, and I hope you receive that well, because I think sometimes we say things and we act away like this is. And you should take ownership and possession of the team that you're on. We love it. I'm here for it. I'm here to help it. But then there are times that you have to lay back and let leadership, or let your pastor, let God kind of lead the way. You can always give suggestions. You can always be part of the discussion. You can always, but listen, let me say this. I gotta say this. Play your role. I gotta say this. Don't be the one that's late all the time. Don't be the one that never show up. Don't be the one that wasn't at the last 3 rehearsals and then you come in and you got something to say. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because even if your leader doesn't say anything, they're thinking it. Like, sis, I ain't seen you since last month. And you walking in the door correcting. You're walking in the door with critiques. You're walking in the door with your opinions and thoughts. I'm gonna need you to lay back. Listen, if you're late, and haven't showed up and I don't know when, it's best for you to come and try. Just sit and chill and just hope that nobody see you come in 30 minutes late. Like it would be just best. It would just be best. Okay, y'all understand what I'm saying? Like don't be that person that has disengaged and you come back in like a firecracker giving correction and critique and telling what you think, and you flip your hair and then walk out the door and we don't see you 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. Let me say something else. Men, we need you on the team. Men, we need you on the team. Men, we need you on the team. Men, we need your voice on the team. Men, we need you to be engaged on the team. Men, we need you. 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 Worship is not just a feminine thing. See, this is what I mean. I say I'm going to give you 5 things and then this is going to be 7. Worship is not just a feminine thing. Men, we need you. If you can sing, if you have a gift, if you have whatever, we need you. All right. Let me say this last thing to leaders. So you're going to be accountable team. You're going to be engaged and available. You're going to have stamina, because that means you're going to be committed. You're going to persevere through struggles and hard times and transitions and even offense. And then you're going to communicate and always assume the best intent, seek to bridge gaps, and you're going to let peace keep you together, hold you together no matter what comes, no matter who goes. You're going to let peace hold you together, because that's going to be the crux of our team. That's going to be the glue that keeps this team together. And then when you do communicate, you're going to do your best to do it eye to eye, face to face. If you can't, you're going to do voice to voice, and then texting or other nonverbal communication is going to be your last mode of communication. All right. You're going to live full, and you're going to lead out of your overflow. You're going to live filled rather, and lead out of your overflow, sing out of your overflow, give out of your overflow. Here's the thing for leaders. Is going to be my last thing. Try your best not to stay in maintenance mode. Try your best not to stay in maintenance mode. If you're a new leader, meaning you just took over for someone, there is a space time where you just are maintaining. You just want to make sure you're doing everything that was done before. Everybody is comfortable with you. You're learning them just like they're learning you. Okay. So you're in maintenance mode, but you cannot stay there. You cannot stay there, because the team will get bored. You will get bored. You will become stagnant and complacent. It will start to get stale. Your team goals, whatever they are in this particular instance, if it's a worship team, your goal to lift up the name of Jesus, to bring an atmosphere of worship, to completely and totally engage the Spirit of God, so that an atmosphere of miracle, signs, and wonders takes place in your church, then you have to get out of maintenance mode and you have to click into momentum mode. You have to gain some momentum. You gotta shake it up. And I don't mean shake it up just for the point of shaking it up because you saw somebody else do it and now you want to speak in tongues, Holy Ghost fire for 45 minutes. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is, so you got to throw new songs in there and get rid of the old songs. You've got to introduce new things to your team. Just like this, if you haven't done something like this, maybe you can do a video for your team. Like if you don't want to take time on a Saturday, or we meet on Saturday, if you don't want to take time because that time is valuable to learning music, then do a video and ask them to do it. If you guys have never read a book before, read a book before. Explore and Worship by Bob Sourier is an excellent book to start with. If you haven't done that, there's a workbook to it. If you've never gone on a trip together, oh my God, that's an excellent team. Bunking in a hotel room with people that you really don't always engage with, but you worship together, which is crazy. But you're supposed to be family. You're supposed to be able to look at each other. You know, I tell my team all the time, y'all, we laugh and eat together all the time, but when we worship, you straight ahead. You're scared to look at each other. Like, what is that? And so you gotta, if you're a leader, you gotta get out of maintenance mode. The same old thing, just trying to maintain. You don't want nobody to follow. You don't want nobody to be mad at you. You don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. Listen, change is uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable, and change doesn't mean that everything just does a 180, and so it's the complete opposite of what it's always been. No. It means you are introducing things that are going to help grow and progress the team. It's matching the vision. It's matching the mission of the church. Be married to the mission and the vision of the church. KLM's mission and vision, part of it, at least the mission and the vision for the praise team, is to engage the glory of God, the manifest glory of God, so that the weight of his glory falls every single Sunday. And it doesn't have to be in the same way. And don't have to be, get out of that, oh, this song always shouts some song. No. Find different ways to engage your worship. find different ways to display and demonstrate worship in different ways, because you got to mature your crowd. You got to mature your people in your audience so that they know it's not just about me singing. It's not just about the team. It's not just about the band, but it's about a corporate, unified, one accord experience, lifting up worship and praise to God. All right. So that's it. That's all I got. You got to get out of maintenance mode. I'm trying to be quick, and I don't, it's probably still 30 minutes. You got to get out of maintenance mode and get into momentum. If you are a leader, you got to push your team. You got to give them new songs. You got to give them more reasons why they should continue to be engaged, why they should continue to follow you, why they should continue to trust you. They've got to trust you. All right. Yeah, we gotta mature them. And maturing them means at some point you gotta stop leading them. I keep saying this, and this has been kind of a mantra since last year. You don't have to lead them through worship. And what I mean is, you don't have to lead them from A to Z and tell them what to do and how to function and where to go and where to be and clap right here and don't do this and this. Now you can sit up and now you can stand up and sit down. Lead them to worship. And provide the atmosphere where it's inviting for them to worship in whatever way they worship, whether it's silence or loud, whether it's soft or big, whether it's praise, what we say is praise, whether it's fast music or slow music, whatever it is, you have to invite them, and you have to not make silent spaces uncomfortable. Silence does not have to be comfortable. And just because people are not screaming at you does not mean that they're not engaged. It does not mean there is contemplative worship. There is loud and screaming. There is hands lifted. There is crying. I might be so undone that I can't do anything, can't move, I may be so under the power of God, or the Lord may be healing me. You don't know what the Lord may be doing. And a lot of times we lead worship to invoke the response of people, but we never wait for the response of God. We have to wait. When we've lifted up worship to Him, we've lifted up praise to Him, there's a point that we've got to the end of that, and now we want to hear what He has to say. We want to hear what He has to say. And that may be in silence. It may be in the leader saying something. It may be something the pastor's going to say. But it could be in nothing at all. It could be the corporate sound of a unified body worshiping, and you hear those liftings, and somebody over here is just in tongues, and somebody over here is crying, and somebody over here is just on their face, and somebody's on their knees, and it is that's the space, that's the atmosphere where miracle signs and wonders. And I'm not saying that miracle signs and wonders can't happen when the Lord said twirl around and shout 3 times. Absolutely it can. Absolutely it can. But we have to give space to those times. So whatever the Lord, that's why you have to be so in tune and so you gotta hear. You gotta be able to hear. And I'm so thankful to God that my ears have been so tuned lately. It's almost scary. So I love you guys. That's all I have. I hope that you'll share this with your team. I think it's good to share with your team. I think it's good for you to hold on and just share with your Facebook friends and family. Accountability, engagement, and availability. Stamina, communication, live full, and get out of maintenance mode and get into momentum. I love y'all. That's all I have. I said I was going. Mark this as your Uncommon Worshipers monthly meetup. Something I said I was gonna do, but having a date on it kind of like boxes me in, and I never know when God is gonna give me something, and so I just give it to you when God gives it to me. I hope you are preparing to be with us for the Uncommon Worshipers gathering in October. So save the month. All right, it's gonna be, I know the date, I think, but I'm not gonna release it just yet. So it'll be around the same time as it was last year. I think it was the 3rd week. So be looking for things, be looking for posts about that. But I hope you just put in the back of your minds, you're going to hang out with us. It's going to be at the same place, I think, at my church. The Uncommon Worshipers Gathering last year was absolutely bonkers. And so I hope that you will plan to join us. And I got a few other things planned for this year, so be on the lookout for that. I love you guys so much. This is why I jump on and just share with you what God has given to me. If you have any questions, I would love to answer your questions. I don't charge for mentoring or coaching or just asking a question. I'm also available for booking, for leading worship, and for teaching. Definitely a worship clinician. Also on prayer. So my 2 things are worship and prayer. So if you need me, get in contact with me. GlendaWilliamsMusic@gmail.com. I prefer that you email me. If you just can't, if you have to, you can definitely inbox me. But if you have questions, definitely inbox me. But for booking, GlendaWilliamsMusic gmail.com. Love you guys. Hope you got Worship Until too. If you don't have it, go get it. Worship Until Live is everywhere. iTunes, Google Play. You can get hard copies from me at that same email address, or glendawilliamsmusic.com, where you can order it online. All right. Y'all have a great rest of the day. You probably at work listening, got your phone turned down, turned on the other side and just listening. So love you guys so much. Have a great rest of the week. And I pray God's glory meets you on Sunday morning like never before. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.